Hey everybody, airport lines are terrible. Congress had a solution and the president's getting in the way of making a deal. I wanted to talk to everybody about what's going on down here in Washington, D.C. I know that everybody's seeing these images on television with these long lines at the airports. Some of you are going to the airports, you're waiting in these long lines, it's incredibly frustrating. And you're thinking, what is wrong with these politicians that they can't just fix this? They can't just solve the problem. So I want to take a few minutes to explain what's going on and why it is I'm so frustrated. We've had this big fight in Washington. So people are getting more and more frustrated. This is going on for over 30 days. Well, the Senate finally came close to making a deal. And what happened? President Trump came out and he said, don't make a deal with those crazy Democrats. In fact, I'll read you some of the things he said. He said, don't deal with the crazy, country-destroying, radical left Democrats. That's right from the president. No deals with the Democrats.
And I'm suggesting strongly to the Republican Party, don't make any deal on anything.
What is wrong with him? I don't understand. Why can't he
Don't make any deal on anything.
Senator Kennedy from, where's he from? Louisiana, I think, was on television. He's always a very colorful guy. And he explained the whole thing. Hey, we've come to this agreement. I'll show you a clip of it. But in the end of it, he says, Donald Trump said no deal with the Democrats.
I thought what Senator Cruz and I proposed would work. It's not going to work. Let me explain why. The Democrats have offered to open up everything but ICE. Ted and I said, okay, let's accept their offer. And that way we're out of the shutdown and DHS is back open. Senator Thune submitted that to President Trump, as is his right. He said no deals with the Democrats. So we're back to square one. It would have worked. We could have had TSA paid by the end of the week, but the president said no deals.
So first, let me try and tell you some of the basics. There's a $97 billion amount that is spent or budgeted for what's called the DHS, Department of Homeland Security. And that $97 billion, $87 billion of it is for things like FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, disaster aid, TSA, that's the airports, the guys at the airport, the guys and women at the airports, the Coast Guard, Secret Service, cybersecurity. $87 billion is for all those different things. $10 billion is for ICE. That's related to the stuff that we just saw out in Minneapolis a couple months ago where they killed Alex Preddy and Renee Good. And we've seen all this, what I've said is illegal and immoral behavior by ICE with these mass roundups, people wearing masks, the agents wearing masks, breaking the car window, dragging the person out of their car. So the Democrats have said, we're not going to fund DHS, all of the $97 billion, unless you do reforms to ICE, because we want to see no masks. We want to see you wear body cameras. We want you to do the same stuff that the rest of federal law enforcement does, like the FBI or the Department of Drug Enforcement Agency, or ATF, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Bureau. Those are all federal agencies. Nobody's complaining about them. In fact, they're funded right now. The Democrats have said, listen, we will fund everything. We'll fund the $87 billion. We'll fund everything, except we don't want to fund ICE unless you make these reforms. But we will vote to extend the funding for FEMA, for the Coast Guard, and importantly, the people are seeing on television every day, for the TSA agents at the airports. The Republicans are saying, well, we'll consider that. In the United States Senate, they actually have had a negotiation to say, you guys all vote together with us, Democrats and Republicans, to fund all those agencies.
Senator, Democrats say we'll fund it. We'll fund DHS. That means FEMA. We'll fund airport security, but we're not going to fund ICE. And to that, you say, okay?
We saw Donald Trump do press conferences with Zohran Mamdani in New York City, the Democratic mayor of New York City, an avowed Democratic socialist. The president calls him a communist. Says awful things about him.
Zohran Mamdani, 34-year-old Democratic socialist. He's the front
communist, not socialist, communist. He's far worse.
Communist who's 33 years old, doesn't know a damn thing. Practically, he's never worked a day in his life. I'm not going to send a lot of money to New York. I don't have to.
I think I'm a much better looking person than him, right?
He's a communist. He's down and dirty. He's a communist.
And he says, well, we're going to try and negotiate to get some things done to build some housing. Okay, great. People like the idea of people who don't agree with each other negotiating with each other. Why will you negotiate with him and do a press conference with the mayor of New York City, but he won't talk to any of the Democrats in Congress? Why won't he negotiate on all these big issues that we face related to the cost of living in America, related to immigration, related to ICE, related to funding DHS? Why won't he talk to negotiate to try and resolve some of the thorny issues that are affecting real people in their lives every day in our country? I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I'm asking the president, please just sit down and negotiate. You know, last year, all of 2025, the president met with John Fetterman, Senator John Fetterman from Pennsylvania, in March of 2025. It was the only meeting he had until right before the shutdown in around November of 2025, where he met with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. And that was the meeting that after the meeting, you saw the images that the White House put out of Hakeem Jeffries wearing a sombrero, childish, teenage, goofball stuff from the President of the United States of America. No negotiations face-to-face since then. Let's make a deal. That's what elected officials have done throughout the beginning, since the beginning of our democracy in the United States of America. Work together to solve the problems that we face. Don't say things like the crazy, country-destroying, radical left Democrats. No deals with the Democrats. What is wrong? Why is he foreclosing the opportunity for us to work together to actually address the real problems that people face in their lives every single day? People are watching all this finger pointing and attacking going on, and they're saying, what about me? What are you doing to make my life better? You're the President of the United States of America. You're the United States Senate. You're the Congress. What are you doing for me to try and help me deal with my cost of living issues? Because my grocery prices are too high. And it could be because of the tariffs. It could be because of the war. It could be because of all the different things that are happening in this administration related that affect agriculture, like the immigration policy. There's not enough people working on the farms. All these things have an impact on the cost of living, on your groceries. Your energy prices are going up because of the war. The president won't talk. Wars, this is life and death stuff. Can't we talk together to figure out a way forward to try and do our common interest for the people of the United States of America? Immigration, can't we work together? Healthcare, booming, going through the roof faster than ever before. We can't work together on that? I've written letters to the president with my co-chair of the Problem Solvers Caucus saying, let's get together and let's talk to make some deals. And you know what Donald Trump put out? He wrote a tweet. He said, Tom Suozzi is a radical left-wing lunatic Democrat. What is he talking about? I mean, I think the people in my district know me pretty well, okay? I'm pleading with the president. Please, let's work together to solve the problems we face in our country. I'm pleading with the people. Anybody who sees this, demand of your elected officials, all of them at every level, demand that they work together to solve the complicated problems we face. Because you can't solve complicated problems yelling and screaming at each other. Every problem we face is complicated. Nothing is simple. If it was simple, somebody would have done it already. And to solve a complicated problem, you need people of goodwill to sit down across from each other. That's not happening when the President of the United States of America says, don't negotiate with those crazy people on the other side. It doesn't make any sense. It's bad for our country, and we need people to come together to try and address the problems we face. Okay, thanks very much, everybody. Thanks for listening to me rant.